everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is Balanced Vibes Podcast, and I am your host, Kirsten. Happy New Week, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, right now it's Sunday evening when I am recording this, and honestly, I'm always a little bit confused because I feel like in the States where I'm living right now, the week starts on Sunday, which is so odd to me because where I'm from, which is Estonia, the week starts on Monday. So I've never really realized why Sunday considered the beginning of the week, or maybe I misunderstood something. You can let me know. DM me or leave a comment below how to understand it, what's going on, because to me, I still feel like Monday should be the beginning of the week. But anyways, wherever you are in your week right now, maybe you're listening to this on Wednesday, I hope you're having an amazing day. Today we're talking about food, and I want to bring you a couple of thoughts regarding health and food, and some food rules that I think we all should stay away from, or some things that we see in this diet industry, some recommendations that I do think are really dangerous and that we should stay away from. So these are the things that we're going to talk about today. Before that though, I want to make sure that you have my Fit Physique Formula Guide. This is a totally free guide that is all about protein. And why protein? Because protein really is extremely important macronutrient. Of course, not to say that carbohydrates and fats are not important. They are very important, but protein is really the key when we want to achieve the goals that we usually have. So most people I think have similar goals. We want to look stronger, be fitter, have better energy, have more muscle tone, and have more flexible metabolism and faster metabolism. Everybody wants that. Nobody wants to have a sluggish metabolism that does not respond. Everybody wants to have a flexible metabolism, high metabolism that allows you to just live a normal life. So you don't have to kill yourself on running trails or doing a million high intensity workouts a week, so that you can eat pretty high number of calories without gaining weight, so that you can just have better energy also between your meals, so you're not hungry and hangry all the time. So these are all the things what protein is important for. And of course, muscle building is always very, very important. And I shared this earlier this week, or was it last week? I don't know. On Instagram too, I said that, a lot of times women don't even know that they have a muscle building goal. Everybody's only talking about weight loss all the time. But a lot of women don't understand that they actually do want to build muscle because they want to have this muscle tone and they want to look good. And this is what you can when you eat high protein diet and lift weights. And at the same time, you will start changing your body composition. Your fat percentage will likely drop down a little bit. Of course, given that you're physically healthy and you have something to lose, you have some fat to lose. If you are already very low fat percentage, then this is not supposed to happen. So be aware of that too. So it's very, very important to get your protein right. I've had several clients who have told me that they also experience a lot more mental clarity. So for all these reasons, high protein intake is extremely important. So please go ahead and grab my free protein guide. It is called Fit Physique Formula, and you can find it anywhere. You can find it in my Instagram bio. You can find it in the description of this show. So please go ahead and grab that. But moving on to our today's topic, which is, like I said, some of the things that you can see, some ideas that you can see in the fitness dieting industry that I really recommend that you stay away from. And the first thing is the myfitnesspal. I want to address that first. myfitnesspal, I think, is an amazing tool. It's a great tool if you want to keep an eye on your food intake, if you want to learn about calories, if you want to learn about how certain macronutrients affect your body. Logging food can be very, 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 very insightful, and I do use it every single day. And I also use it with my macro coaching clients so that they can track their foods and see where they're at, where they can make improvements and all that. So I think for that, it's a great tool. But where it goes wrong is estimating people's calories and giving recommendations. So one of the things I see a lot is that women start using myfitnesspal and they put in their information. I want to lose X amount of weight in X amount of time. And then the number that myfitnesspal then gives them is ridiculously low. And a lot of times it's around 1,200 calories. Now, 1,200 calories, if you have been a listener for a while, you know that this is a very low number of calories. And I don't think that almost anyone should ever eat that. Of course, we're not talking about children, right? We're talking about adult women, because 1200 is very likely below your metabolic rate, right? Your basal metabolic rate is definitely higher than that. So you should never eat less than your basal metabolic rate. In fact, you should eat more than that, definitely more than that. But 1200 is maybe a metabolic rate for somebody who's older, is physically very inactive, and has a slow metabolism. So maybe in this case, but for most people who I'm assuming are listening to this are not that type of person. They're relatively active. They are not in their 70s, and then they should eat. So it's really dangerous if you take this number from myfitnesspal and start using that as your diet or your nutrition guide, right? So the other day I just started working with a new client, and I wanted her to share her username with me on myfitnesspal so I can do some check-ins there. And she told me, okay, I'm here. Do you see me? And I told her, yes. And I see that you have that myfitnesspal goal there, and please don't follow this goal. Go follow the numbers that I gave you, the macronutrient numbers that I gave you, because the number was 1260, so 1260 calories that the app calculated for her. And I told her that, hey, if you're gonna follow this number, you're going to be starving really quickly. You're going to be mad at me really quickly. You want to stop working with me because you think this is horrible. You're going to kill your husband. It's not going to work. And of course, you're going to downregulate your metabolism in a major way. And so she said, yes, I thought it's kind of low, and no, you should not follow this. So be really careful with that. If you want to do macros, if you want to figure out the right calories for yourself, work with somebody who knows. You can always DM me. I'm happy to take on new clients. You just can't do random stuff. You can't take random numbers off the internet and hope that they work for you, because I'm not saying it just because I want to get clients. No, this is not why I'm saying this. I'm saying this because I have many years of experience of doing it to myself, under eating severely. And again, if you have been listening to this podcast for a while, you know my story. I severely messed myself up. And for many years, I worked only with women who had hypothalamic amenorrhea, which was exactly the result of eating so low calories for a very long period of time. So if you are eating under your BMR, which is what unfortunately myfitnesspal often tells you to do, then you are getting yourself into big trouble, and recovering from this can take a very long time. Like me personally, 5 months of no workouts, eating a ton of food. This is how I recovered, and a lot of other women have taken this time to recover as well. So please be sure and don't do anything irresponsible, eating that low number of calories that the app tells you, or maybe there's another, not necessarily even the myfitnesspal. Maybe there's a coach who tells you to eat that low, or you use another app to calculate your numbers. If it's that low, it's dangerous and you should not be doing it. Okay, so this was the first thing I wanted to address today. The second thing is the very restricted diets. And so I want to kind of give you an idea. So I overheard a conversation the other day between two women. And one of the women was like, okay, I'm on this low carbohydrate diet. I have to be in this because it's the key to weight loss, because I want to lose weight, essentially. But I really love oatmeal. Can I have some oatmeal? And the other one was like, absolutely not. And these were her words. She said, oatmeal is forbidden on a low carb diet. And this is where we have a problem. If we say that some food is forbidden, then it's going to set us up for failure, because it's not a good relationship with food to have if we think that this or that is forbidden. Okay, so we have to eliminate this language. Of course, there are foods that work well for us and foods that don't work well for us. So somebody can choose to not have oatmeal because it has negative effects, right? So because it maybe causes her some kind of allergic reaction, or jacks up their blood sugar, whatever the thing is. But then this is a conscious choice that we make. It's a different thing than saying that this food is forbidden just because you are on a low carb diet. And that's why I really don't like diets that come with this kind of vocabulary, this kind of language, like this is a yes food and this is a no food. You should have this, you should never have that, or oatmeal is forbidden, or dairy is forbidden. just do your best to not think about it this way. Figure out what foods work for you. And that's what I like about flexible dieting. You can have the things that you want. And also those unhealthy things. I'm not a big fan of eating like a lot of unhealthy foods. And I don't like the idea of like, oh, whatever, if it just fits your macros, you can eat whatever. I don't think this is true. I do think that we have to eat a lot of whole, healthy foods, vegetables and fruits and lean meats and all that. But it doesn't mean that there's no room for treats and fun foods and snacks and all that good stuff. So things have to be available for us. We have to be able to eat the things that we like, even if it's in smaller portions than what we wanted originally. Or we have figured out that, maybe eating entire 3 bars of chocolate is not good for us, but we can still have some. So nothing is forbidden. And maybe you have this experience too, but I know that I had this experience. This is exactly what caused my binge eating. Number 1, yes, it was low calories, but number 2, it was the forbidden foods in air quotes. So those forbidden foods were chocolate, there were nuts, there were cheese. And that's ridiculous that I didn't allow myself to have them, because these are some of my favorite things. So why would I do that? So now if you say that something is forbidden, then your brain automatically wants to go there. And you feel so deprived and just can't you can't handle this idea that you're never supposed to have them. And of course, what's also bad is that you're going to think that if you actually ate this food, although it was forbidden, then now all of a sudden you're a bad person, you're a failure, you lack willpower. All these things automatically just pop into our heads, and this is not a great place to be, because you will create a terrible relationship with food. You don't appreciate food, you start seeing food as enemy, and of course that's going to carry over to exercise as well, because now you start using exercise to punish yourself, to burn off the calories that you took in when you ate that forbidden food, okay? And this is going to cause you put you into this cycle where you try to constantly burn off those bad foods. You do more cardio, you're gonna downregulate your metabolism, you're gonna get tons of health issues. And if on top of that you are doing the 1200 calories a day, this is a really bad recipe or really good recipe rather, for failure. So be aware of that. Don't think about food in terms of this is forbidden, this is allowed. Allow yourself to have the things that you like. Maybe you have to moderate some things. Maybe you have to have some things less than you would want, but you can still have them. And this is how you maintain or still have this sanity when it comes to food. And the second part of it is that I still don't understand why people think that low carb is the solution. If you want to lose body fat, gain muscle, lose some body weight, it's not that. You have to be low carb. No, you don't have to be low carb. If your goal is to lose weight, let's say, then your calories have to be in a deficit. If your goal is to bulk, if your goal is to put on muscle, if your goal is to get bigger, then you have to be in calorie surplus. So it doesn't matter whether you're low carb or high carb. These can be, beneficial for other reasons. But if we're talking about only weight loss, then it always comes down to calorie deficit first, and of course hormonal health as well. And taking one step further, very low carb has been, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it, very low carb can completely mess up our hormones as women. I've seen it so many times, and I think I've shared this statistic before here too, that about 75% of women who come to me, they say, I've lost my period, what should I do? They have been on a low carb / no carb diet, and this is not healthy for females, okay? So this was the second thing. And then the third thing I wanted to mention that I cannot agree with is meal plans. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So, of course, we all know what a meal plan is. A coach tells you exactly you're going to eat this, and this, okay? And here are your choices. This is all you're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So, last week I started a nutrition program in the local gym. And then the first question I got when I introduced this program to these people was exactly, oh, you're going to give us a meal plan. And people are so used to this idea that we have to have a meal plan because we cannot think ourselves. We just cannot think ourselves. We cannot even think, okay, what foods do I like? Because we have this really strong idea that there are only good foods or bad foods, or yes foods or no foods, forbidden foods and allowed foods. So people assume that the only way to achieve your body composition goals, weight loss, fat loss, muscle gain, is to be on the plan. And when I try to explain that, no, this is not a plan. You actually get to eat what you want. These are going to be your choices. I'm going to give you guidelines. I'm going to give you an idea how tracking works, what to look for, and so on. But what you eat is actually ultimately up to you. A lot of people were surprised. And I would say that a lot of people also don't think it's going to work because we think that the key is to follow somebody else's rules. But honestly, that only makes us dumber because we have to figure out how to eat in ways that satisfy us. Now, if there is a coach that told me that here's your meal plan, you're going to eat asparagus. No, let's take other examples. Let's take the coach is going to tell me that I have to eat mushrooms and I have to eat, I don't know, oysters. I'm trying to think the other things that I don't like to eat and something else. Okay. I don't eat mushrooms. I don't like oysters. If they're going to tell me to eat these things, how long do you think I'm going to stick with this diet? Or even if these are foods that I generally maybe like, but they're going to be because somebody else told me and now I have to eat them like all the time. Let's say my diet's going to be like asparagus and tilapia and rice, asparagus, tilapia and rice. Then sooner or later, I'm going to get sick of it. I don't want to eat it anymore. And that's why it's so important that we eat the way that we actually like. We are supposed to like the way we're eating. I think people think a lot of times that if I want to lose weight, if I want to lose fat, then it's not okay for me to like the way I'm eating. It has to be a struggle. It has to suck, right? It has to be a terrible experience. This is the only way to do it. But no, what if you actually enjoy the way you're eating? What if you're actually enjoying the foods that you like and then you get to your body composition? It's not to say that there's no work involved. Of course there's work involved. You likely have to eat higher protein than what you expected. You may have to limit your nut butter intake. That's me, right? You may want to eat like 10 handfuls of cashew nuts, but now you're like, okay, it doesn't actually quite fit. Well, maybe I'm going to cut that back a little bit, but you can still have these things. And that's why meal plans that tell you exactly like by ounces, like 4 ounces this and 4 ounces that, and this is all you can have, they don't work. You're going to hate yourself at the end of it. And so my friend actually, she told me that she did a macro program sometime last year. And then she said that even to this day, I have those frozen foods in my freezer because this is what they did. They had some sort of egg dish for breakfast. Lunch was always one thing, and the dinner was always rice, vegetables, chicken. Rice, vegetables, chicken. Breakfast was always this egg thing, and I don't remember what the lunch was. But she said that I got so sick of this that I stopped doing it, and I still have from last year. I still have frozen rice, chicken, and vegetables portioned out in my freezer. I got so sick of it, I'm not touching it anymore. I quit the whole thing because I was just so grossed out. And this is exactly what happens if we give people meal plans and tell them that this is all you can ever eat. You're not supposed to do anything outside of this. Does it give you results? Yeah, probably if you're able to stick with it, but it's not enjoyable at all. Nobody wants to do it and nobody can ever stick with it. It's just how it is. So these are my thoughts. So be really careful if you ever want to lose weight, lose fat, then you don't go in these super low calorie diets. The things like, for example, myfitnesspal tells you 1200 calories, do that. Don't ever do that, okay? Second thing to understand, there's no forbidden foods, like good foods, bad foods. Yes, some foods are nutritionally better. Some foods work better for you and for your health and for your goals. But in general, we should really eliminate this idea that, or this language that some foods are forbidden, some are allowed. And then lastly, meal plans. I think meal plans are dangerous. You can, as coaches, or as a coach, I can give people ideas. Okay, here are some amazing protein ideas. Here are some amazing carb ideas. Here are some amazing fat ideas. But to tell them exactly what to eat and hope that people are going to do it and enjoy their lives at the same time, this is nonsense. I do not think that this is going to be realistic, at least in the long term. It may work for a little while, but then sooner or later, no, we just don't want to do it. So these are my thoughts today. I hope this was helpful. Respect yourself, respect your hunger signals, respect your intuition. If something feels wrong, it doesn't work for you, it doesn't taste good, it's just gross to you, don't do it. You don't have to do it. You have the ability and power to make your own choices, listen to guidelines, take guidelines, learn about nutrition, do all that, but ultimately make your choices. Don't starve yourself. Stay healthy. All right, this is all I got for you today. Don't forget to grab my protein guide and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.